renowned and known as a scientist in not only quantum physics but time research as well. He is our guest tonight, and he's going to comment. So, callers, go right ahead. It looks as if we've got a call on the line right now, Dr. Derrickson.
Go right ahead.
Well, Dr. Derrickson, I'm having these. They're not exactly flashbacks. They're more like visions, more like a walking daydream. It's like everything isn't right. Everything isn't as it should be. What we're living in right now isn't the way it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's an intuition thing or what it is, but it's like I feel like things should be different to these. I'm having these, they're deja vus. I'm seeing these images in my mind, and I'm having this weird feeling, hey, this already happened. But yet it didn't happen. You know, I look at the newspaper, I look at TV, I look for any of these images I'm having, and it hasn't happened, but yet I have this strong feeling that it did. It's the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. Some of them are images of some kind of a serial killer, you know, running around claiming lives. And yet we know there hasn't been a homicide for over 10 years here that's on record. And there's I'm having images of some kind of a living female being, some sort of a Flashy the Paper Doll, something like that. It was a life form, and yet there's no one's ever heard of anything like that. It hasn't been developed.
Where do you get the name Flashy the Paper Doll from?
I have no idea, but it appeared in an image. It was a part of an art exhibit. It was on a newspaper article. And these are, as I said, these are flashes. They're images. They're memories. I swear to God, they're memories, and yet I'm remembering something that hasn't occurred. It's the most baffling thing I've ever experienced.
You use the term deja vu. Why?
Because I have this feeling that it's already happened. I have this feeling it's already happened. Not that it's going to happen in the future, but that it's already occurred. That's the feeling that I have.
A little bit for the intuition. That's interesting that you say that. Just yesterday, we discovered that, I don't know how I can explain this in a way that will be understandable. A blip on the quantum line, we'll put it like that. Basically, the universe skipped as though it was a CD playing a song. We have no idea why. Now, as a quantum physicist, we've done research, extensive research in the concept of multiple universes. We could even call them dimensions, for lack of a better word. It's possible. When did these start? Let me ask you that first. When did they begin? When did this deja vu of occurrences that have never occurred start?
Well, they began yesterday. I don't remember exactly what time, but they happened.
Interesting.
All throughout the afternoon, the early evening. I've had them today already.
How many have you had?
There's been at least a dozen of them.
Oh,
they're fragmentary in nature. They're very brief, but they're more than usually just an isolated image. They'll actually be an event or a sequence. It's more like a 5 or 10 second video. Perhaps it's as if there's this scene in my mind that's playing itself out, as if I were a witness and saw it or watched
first
it.
person. It's from the first person. It's
yes,
you.
These are events.
Do you feel like yourself?
I think I'm still the same, but I feel like I'm seeing something that happened in my past, but yet I've never had these experiences before. These are memories that are new to me. These are not things that I remember having thought of before, and yet they're now real and plain and very vivid, and it's very confusing to me.
And you say they started yesterday.
Yes, I wondered if I was hallucinating, if I should go see a doctor or what.
I wouldn't go see a doctor. Don't tell a doctor. Do not tell a doctor. It's like when you tell a doctor that you're suicidal and they strap you down and put you in a room. You don't want to do that. You don't want to go through any of that. It's interesting that we'll call them visions. We'll call them visions for lack of a better word. It's interesting that your visions started yesterday. Was it in the morning, afternoon? Do you remember by any chance?
I don't remember exactly when. You mentioned some kind of a blip or a blink yesterday, but
Correct.
When did that happen?
It was early morning.
I wish now I'd kept better track of my whatever they are. I don't know what to call them. Deja vu is just the only term I could come up with.
Well, and it sounds like you feel like you've experienced it before. So deja vu is applicable in relation to your perception. Deja vu is applicable. It's hard for me to imagine the term deja vu because of what it implies.
I'm wondering if I'm the only one having these experiences, or if this is some kind of a phenomenon that the other people just haven't started talking about it yet.
And that's what I'm interested in finding out. I would very much like to know if there are other instances, if there are other people that are experiencing the same thing. We don't know what the blip was. We have no idea. It's almost like the universe ceased to be, and then, within a fraction of a second, came back as though nothing happened. The only reason we know this is from a blip in the quarks, but we're not going to get into any of that. We don't know what it is. Now, if you subscribe to the theory or the hypothesis that there are multiple universes, it's possible that what we experienced was the beginning or end of a merger. It could be these universes are trying to become a whole, as if they're all fractions. They're all pieces of one existence.
Dr. Derrickson, if I might, we've lost our caller, but I'd like, because you are the expert in these areas, I'd like to ask you this: if in fact this theory that you're putting forth of a merger of different universes is in fact taking place, it begs the question: is this completely undoable? Can the universes ever be separated back into their original state, or will this new merged state be a permanent thing?
Well, we don't know quite yet. We have yet, then this is all hypothesis. We have almost no understanding of it. We don't know what the blip was. I'm merely stating that it's a possibility, it's a thought. If we don't know how they were fractured in the first place, if we don't know anything about the universes, then there's no way to say that we could put them back together.
And I want to add something to this, Dr. Derrickson, because I may actually have another case for your study.
Interesting.
There's some woman who's been calling the station today, and we just thought she was obviously a crack call or a crank, or obviously somebody mentally disturbed. As you know, the esteemed Senator Quinn has announced his candidacy for the president. He announced it yesterday at a press conference. This woman keeps calling here insisting that he's dead, that he was shot, that he shouldn't even be here. And I said, lady, you're going to get yourself arrested if you keep going around talking like that. But she keeps calling back. Finally, I told the secretary who's answering the phones to just cut her off, that we don't need this, that there's nothing we can do. And I've asked the woman politely to please stop calling the station. Somehow she got through to me at one point. But she insists that he was assassinated, he was shot, and the man's in quite good health. I was at the press conference yesterday, and she's insisting that this happened, and yet all of us know that the man probably is going to be our next president.
We may be experiencing the beginning of that phenomenon. This may be the beginning, and we'll need to record and keep track and find out if more people are having these experiences, these visions, these deja vu.
Dr. Derrickson, since your foundation has access to federal funding, if you talk to the station manager here, I think probably we can set up some kind of hotline where people who are experiencing this, if in fact there are more than just the two that we're aware of, can call in or even come in and meet in person and be interviewed. You'll want to track this and keep records, obviously.
Oh, detailed records. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. This may indeed be a widespread phenomenon.
I believe that it is. I believe we're going to start hearing about a great many things that have never occurred, that have never happened. Well, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Before we have to go to a station break here, Dr. Derrickson, is there anything you'd like to tell our viewers and listeners out there, any advice you'd like to give them if they started experiencing this?
If you are experiencing anything along these lines, any deja vu, any visions, any intuition, anything you think is going to happen or has happened, please reach out to us. We need to know. We would love it if you could tell us everything about it. We need to make detailed accounts. We need to put this together and find out what it is. And the only way you can do that is with your help coming forward. You will not be discredited.
You heard our esteemed Dr. Derrickson, our guest right here tonight. If anybody out there who's listening or watching is having these experiences, call the station. We'll make arrangements for you to come down here and be interviewed. We will maintain extensive records of your experiences, so please come and participate if this is happening to you.
CIR listeners out there, and viewers on CIR television too, welcome to Talkline, where you can call in with whatever is on your mind. Tonight's topic is the amazing lack of violent crime in Merger City over the past decade. Scientists and behaviorists nationwide are baffled and amazed at the fact that there has not been a homicide, a murder, in Merger City.
Okay, I am glad I got through this time. They've been hanging up on me. Listen to me, please. I saw on television where Senator Quint announced his candidacy for the presidency. Listen to me. He shouldn't be here. That man isn't alive. He was shot and killed. Assassinated. I remember seeing it all when it happened on television. I am telling you that Senator Quint is not supposed to be alive. Listen to me.
Hugh Millicent here, and the station today has been flooded with reports of people claiming to be experiencing visions, hallucinations, waking daydreams, whatever, of various images and events that they have no explanation for these images that they're experiencing. And it seems to be, in many cases, that these people feel that it's something that they remember, that it's something that happened, and yet they're completely baffled as to the lack of references. In other words, there's no way to substantiate any of these images as ever having occurred. None of them. For example, we have had numerous callers who have reported that there was a serial killer at work and that there were victims. There's no documentation of this ever having happened. There's not been a murder here in Merger City in over 10 years. We don't know what's going on, but as you may recall from the live show with Dr. Derrickson that aired here on OSAR, we are in fact setting up hotlines here in a research center where people can come in and be interviewed about these images, these whatever the waking daydreams that they're having. We want to know if it's happening to you, if you're experiencing it. We'd like for you to come in here to the OSAR station and tell us about these experiences. We will interview you. We will document them. Please call us, make an appointment to come down and be interviewed. This is Hugh Millicent at OSAR. Thank you very much.